آقای دکتر صورتتون نیست.
The draft resolution by the Troika appointed the guilty party prior to the investigation, prior to an independent and objective investigation. And this is an approach which is incompatible with legal norms. You did know what our concerns were, but once again, you placed your unilateral and therefore doomed draft to a vote. What has this become? Has this become a national sport to intentionally undermine the unity?
Please raise their hand. Those against? Abstentions? The result of the vote is as follows: 10 votes in favor, 2 votes against, 3 abstentions. The draft resolution has not been adopted owing to the negative vote of a permanent member of council.
إلا أن تسعى لتكرار المسرحية الدامية التي مارستها في هذا المجلس بالذات ضد العراق
theatrical play that it had staged 14 years ago in this council against Iraq, a play entitled The Lie of the Iraqi WMDs. Once again, the U.S. administration is taking the terrorist war against my country Syria to unprecedented and dangerous levels by switching from a proxy aggression through armed terrorist groups under their control for years to a new and direct aggression through a direct military action against my country Syria.
لقد دأبت الولايات المتحدة التي تدير الإرهاب في بلاد سوريا مع حلفائها وعملائها في المنطقة على تقديم كافة أشكال الدعم للمجموعات الإرهابية كي ترتكب أفظع الجرائم بحق المدنيين والبنى التحتية في سوريا والتي تندرج في إطارها ممارسات ما يسمى بالتحالف الدولي.
hours of crucial, contentious talks with Russian officials, including an unscheduled meeting with President Vladimir Putin himself. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov finally faced the press.
The current state of U.S.-Russia relations is at a low point. There is a low level of trust between our two countries. The world's two foremost nuclear powers cannot have this kind of relationship.
The many hours we spent with Rex Tillerson together and with the President of the Russian Federation were not spent in vain. We understand each other better.
The most that was likely to come from this, an agreement to keep on talking, a working group to tackle the most critical issues. President Trump also weighed in today from the White House.
Right now, we're not getting along with Russia at all. We may be at an all-time low in terms of relationship with Russia.
But dark shades of the deep divisions still seep through all the attempts at common ground. Russia still won't accept Syrian President Assad's responsibility for the chemical attack, repeatedly insisting on a full investigation. The U.S.'s view?
The facts that we have are conclusive that the recent chemical weapons attack carried out in Syria was planned, and it was directed and executed by Syrian regime forces.
Tillerson says Assad's days are numbered. Russia explained at length why ousting him now could be disastrous. On the delicate issue of Russia's interference in the U.S. election.
As to the question of the interference with the election, that is fairly well established in the United States. It's one that we know is serious enough to attract additional sanctions.
While Lavrov again called for more information.
Not a single fact has been confirmed. Who saw those facts? We don't know. Nobody has shown us anything.
The rhetoric from both sides has been stark and relentless, and still yet to meet Presidents Putin and Trump, who laid out the problems here most bluntly today.
Putin is backing a person that's truly an evil person. And I think it's very bad for Russia. I think it's very bad for mankind. It's very bad for this world. But when you drop gas or bombs, this is an animal.
Defending the missile strikes on Syria that Russia considers illegal.
That's a butcher. So I felt we had to do something about it. I have absolutely no doubt we did the right thing.
And so that as long as both the US and Russia have major arms sectors, those two countries are going to be in some kind of rivalry. And it took about 77 days for that fundamental aspect of the United States and Russia to end up in a change of policy by the Trump administration in relation to Russia and Syria, at least a stated change of policy. But it does seem to be true looking at the various appointments to the Trump cabinet. The US, the Central Intelligence Agency had become strongly coupled to the project to intervene in Syria, spending more than $1 billion a year. It was its number one project, was to overthrow the Syrian government. And when Donald Trump came along and said he wanted a different policy, no intervention in Syria, there are many people's careers at stake and alliances between the CIA and the intelligence agencies of other states involved in that war. For example, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, who are also trying to overthrow the Syrian government. So they fought very hard to prevent a change in policy by the Trump administration. And some senior people who looked like they were going to be fired anyway, because they're appointed by Barack Obama, thought, why not create some problems on the way out as well?
Simulating an attack on the subway in Seoul, South Korea's emergency services trained to respond to a bomb or gas attack. An air raid siren signals a bigger attack on the population of Seoul. Citizens should move underground quickly to safety. These drills are held once or twice a year and are often ignored by many.
The South Korean government says there are more than 18,000 bomb shelters around the country, including subways. This one in downtown Seoul, one of many which doubles up as a bomb shelter. They've also produced these documents, brochures, telling citizens what to do in case of emergencies, including the outbreak of war. But what they couldn't tell us was where we could find these brochures and how many had actually ended up in the hands of the public.
There's a distinct lack of concern on the sunny streets of Seoul, a deep-rooted sense of business as usual. For one simple reason. South Korea has been technically at war with its northern neighbour since 1953, when an armistice, not a peace treaty, was signed. The threat of attack is constant, but also distant. This man says, I'm nearly 70 years old. If I was worried, I would have emigrated. There can't be a second Korean war. As the US military beefs up its presence in Korean waters, experts wonder what President Trump means when he says he'll go it alone if he has to, and whether all options are really on the table. The national security advisor to a former South Korean president says even a preemptive strike on North Korea by the US does not necessarily mean war.
I don't believe that Kim Jong-un is crazy. I don't think he's interested in his self-destruction. So he will be very careful.
As the rhetoric increases in Washington and Pyongyang, Seoul, for one, is staying calm. Paula Hancock's CNN Seoul.
No need to push, no need to push.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you in a little while. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Go. Thank you.
I'm grateful to be an honorary member of your nation of heroes, though I still require a visa.
La verdad de la cadena aguacatera tiene un...
ثبت نام محمود احمدی نژاد در انتخابات ریاست جمهوری ایران هم البته برای رسانه‌های ترکیه که با دقت تحولات ایران را دنبال می‌کنند خبر مهمی بود. خبرگزاری دولتی ترکیه آناتولی هم در گزارشی به شرح مفصل شرکت و کاندیداتوری احمدی نژاد در انتخابات پرداخت و البته با یادآوری این مطلب که رهبر جمهوری اسلامی ایران پیشتر به او توصیه کرده بود که صلاح نیست در انتخابات شرکت کند. شاید در ترکیه محافلی هم باشند و هستند که از انتخاب احتمالی احمدی نژاد به ریاست جمهوری در ایران استقبال می کنند. حالا که در کرکوک تصمیم گرفته شده همه پرسی الحاق به کردستان عراق برگزار شود و پرچم این اقلیم در کرکوک برافراشته شده و بحث و جدل‌ها و مخالفت‌های زیادی به ویژه از سوی ترکیه را به دنبال داشت، نهایتاً روز گذشته آقای اردوغان تصمیم گرفت مشاور ارشد خودش ایلنور چویک را به سلیمانیه و به دیدار جلال طالبانی بفرستد تا شاید از نفوذ او در منطقه بتواند برای حل این مشکل بهره ببرد. طالبانی که بیمار است از مشاور اردوغان در منزلش پذیرایی کرد. مشاور آقای اردوغان با یادآوری نقش مهم طالبانی در روابط ترکیه و عراق از او خواسته در این زمینه نیز چاره‌یابی کند. روزنامه صباح از قول جیمز ماتیس وزیر دفاع امریکا می نویسد که موضوع ایجاد منطقه پرواز ممنوع در شمال سوریه را بررسی می کنیم. اما آقای اردوغان میگوید ما طی 20 ماه گذشته حدود 10,000 تروریست را از پا درآورده ایم. او در آماری که ارائه میدهد اشاره دارد البته به PKK و میگوید ما وارد مخفیگاه‌هایشان در کوههای جدیر، قبار، بوسلر، درلر شدیم و آنها را از پای درآوردیم. او میگوید نباید توقف کرد و باید به این مسیر ادامه داد. روزنامه یعنی شفق هم در این رابطه سخنان اردوغان را بازتاب داده. شاید از زمان پایان آتشبس میان ترکیه و PKK این نخستین بار است که اردوغان چنین آمار درشتی از تلفات PKK میدهد و هنوز البته مشخص نیست تا چه اندازه این آمار میتواند دقیق باشد. با این همه باید دید واکنش PKK به این آمار و ادعا چه خواهد بود. روزنامه خبر ترک در گزارشی از سخنان دیروز اردوغان در جمع مردم ارزروم و از قول او می نویسد اگر نتیجه رفراندوم آری باشد می توانم بار دیگر به حزب خودم برگردم. سلیمان سویلو وزیر کشور ترکیه میگوید انفجار 2 روز پیش در استان دیاربکر تروریستی بوده و موجب کشته شدن 3 نفر شده. او میگوید در این حمله از 1 تن مواد منفجره استفاده شده. آنطور که وزیر کشور گفته و اغلب روزنامه‌ها هم این موضوع را امروز دستمایه تیتر صفحه نخست خود قرار دادند، این حمله با طراحی خاصی صورت گرفته و مهاجمان تلاش کردند با حفر تونلی به ساختمان مدیریت امنیت شهری دیاربکر نزدیک بشوند. این انفجار 2 روز پیش در دیاربکر رخ داد و به نظر می‌رسد با توجه به شیوه اقدام آن از سوی گروه‌های وابسته به PKK باشد. روزنامه حریت هم از این تونل که به دست نیروهای امنیتی ترکیه کشف شد تحت عنوان تونل خیانت نام میبرد.